There comes a moment, a quiet understanding that settles deep within, a recognition that the waiting has to end. For too long, perhaps, you've looked outward, waiting for a signal, waiting for permission, waiting for someone, anyone, to step in and chart the course for you. But the truth, the stark, unshakable truth, is beginning to dawn. No one is coming. No one is coming to push you out of bed when the darkness still clings to the windows. No one is coming to turn off the noise, the distractions, the endless stream of things that pull you away from what truly matters. No one is coming to silence the doubts that echo in the quiet corners of your mind. No one is coming to take your hand and lead you towards your potential. That responsibility, that immense, terrifying, and ultimately liberating responsibility, rests solely, entirely, with you. This isn't a curse. It's not a condemnation. It's the fundamental reality of standing on your own 2 feet. It's the moment a boy realizes the safety net is gone, and he must learn to weave his own. It is the moment you understand that the life you have, right now, is a direct result of choices made, actions taken, or perhaps, more poignantly, actions not taken. It's easy to look for the shortcut. Our world screams for it. The quick fix, the overnight success, the path of least resistance. We see the highlight reels, the filtered images of lives seemingly lived without effort, without struggle, but deep down, you know that anything worthwhile, anything with substance, anything that truly lasts, is forged in fire. It's built through pressure, through consistency, through showing up when every fiber of your being wants to retreat. There is no magic pill. There is no secret handshake that unlocks a life of meaning and strength. There is only the path. And the path, the true path, involves the grind. It involves facing the uncomfortable truths about yourself, about your habits, about the excuses you've allowed to take root. The prayer, it demands that you confront the monumental laziness, the gravitational pull towards comfort that keeps so many men tethered to mediocrity. Look in the mirror, truly look, beyond the surface, beyond the face you show the world. There is a version of you, a stronger, more disciplined, more capable version, waiting. He doesn't sleep in. He doesn't waste time. He doesn't flinch from the hard work. He doesn't make excuses. That man, the man you could be, is not a fantasy. He exists in the realm of potential, waiting for you to make the choices, to endure the discipline, to bridge the gap between who you are and who you were meant to become. The world doesn't owe you anything. It doesn't owe you success, happiness, or respect simply because you exist. These things are not given, they are earned. They are the byproduct of struggle, of effort, of relentless reluctance. You weren't put here to drift. You weren't put here to merely consume, to be entertained, to seek comfort above all else. There's a fire within you, maybe buried deep, maybe just an ember, but it's there. It's the fire of purpose, the drive to build, to create, to overcome. It's the essence of your masculinity, not aggression, not dominance, but strength. The strength to take responsibility, the strength to face adversity, the strength to choose the hard path, the right path, even when it's lonely, even when it hurts. This journey, this becoming, it starts with a decision that the excuses stop now, the blame stops now, the waiting definitively stops now. You must become your own parent, your own drill sergeant, your own unrelenting force of will. Because the cavalry isn't coming. It was never supposed to. The power, the responsibility, The potential, it's all been within you, all along. The question, what's wet? What will you do with it? Starting today, starting right now. The world keeps turning, time keeps slipping away, indifferent to whether you rise to meet the challenge or shrink back into the familiar comfort of inaction. And let's be honest, that comfort is seductive. It whispers sweet promises of ease, of rest, of avoiding the hard things. It tells you tomorrow is a better day to start. It tells you you've earned a break, that you're tired, that the world is unfair and difficult enough without adding more struggle. Comfort is the siren song of mediocrity. It's the warm blanket that smothers the fire within. It's the slow poison, as the scripts reminded us, that numbs ambition until your dreams quietly die, unnoticed, unmourned. To be a man, truly, is to recognize this enemy, this gravitational pull towards the path of least resistance, and to consciously, deliberately, choose otherwise. How? How do you fight against something so ingrained, so universally appealing? The answer isn't glamorous. It isn't found in fleeting bursts of motivation or waiting for inspiration to strike like lightning. Motivation is fickle. It comes and goes like the weather. Relying on motivation to build a life of substance is like trying to build a house on shifting sand. The foundation, the bedrock, the steel frame upon which a strong life is constructed is discipline. Discipline. Not a popular word, perhaps. It conjures images of restriction, of punishment, of forcing yourself against your will. And in many ways, that's exactly what it is. It is forcing yourself to do the things you don't want to do, precisely when you don't want to do them. Flee. Because your feelings, your moods, your fleeting desires, they don't care about your potential. They don't care about the man you could become. They only care about immediate gratification, about avoiding pain, about taking the easy road right now. The scripts highlighted a stark truth. Living life based on how you feel is the luxury of children, and perhaps women. A man building something, a man with purpose, must act based on what needs to be done, regardless of the internal weather report. Can you force yourself to train when you're tired? Can you force yourself to work when boredom sets in? Can you force yourself to make the right choices, day after day, even when no one is watching? Can you force yourself not to do the things that sabotage your progress? The scrolling, the junk food, the cheap dopamine hits that leave you empty. This is the internal battlefield. The real war isn't always out there, against competitors or circumstances. The first and most important war is waged within the landscape of your own mind. It's you versus you. It's the disciplined self against the lazy self. It's the long-term vision against the short-term impulse. And you must win this war every single day. Not just once, not just when you feel like it, every single day. This relentless cultivation, the discipline, it does done remarkable. It transforms you. It reforges your mind. It proves to yourself, on a cellular level, that you are the kind of person who can do hard things, that you are in control, that you are not merely a leaf blown about by the winds of feeling and circumstance. Embracing this, taking absolute self-accountability, even to the point where, as one script put it, the rain is your fault, because you didn't bring an umbrella. This mindset shift is profoundly empowering. If everything is your fault, then everything is also within your power to influence, to change, to overcome. You stop being a victim, and you start becoming the agent of your own life. This discipline isn't just about the big things, the grand gestures. It's forged in the mundane, getting up on time, making your bed, finishing the task you started, keeping your word to yourself. Each small act of discipline is a rep, strengthening that muscle of self-control. Each time you choose the hard right over the easy wrong, you cast a vote for the man you are becoming. Forget waiting for the feeling. The feeling follows the action. You don't feel motivated then? Go to the gym. You go to the gym consistently, through discipline, and then you start to feel stronger, more capable, more motivated. Action first, feeling second. That is the code. That is the way you wove momentum. The way you start to bridge that gap towards the formidable man waiting within you. A man who understands that the very difficulty of the path is what gives the destination its value. Think about that. The value is in the difficulty. If the path was easy, if success was handed out freely, if greatness could be achieved without effort, would it mean anything? Would you truly desire it? Would anyone respect it? We are conditioned to avoid pain, to seek comfort, to find the smoothest, easiest route. Society tells us that suffering is bad, that hardship is something to be eliminated at all costs. But this perspective, this relentless pursuit of ease, it fundamentally misunderstands the process of growth, especially for a man. Pain, struggle, suffering, these are not anomalies to be avoided. They are necessary ingredients. As one of the scripts put it, pain is the elixir of success. It's one of the essential compounds in the chemical reaction that forges a man of substance. You can have all the other elements, the desire, the plan, the opportunity, but without the willingness to endure pain, the reaction simply won't happen. The potential remains dormant. Look at history. Look at the stories that inspire us. Look at the men who achieved monumental things. Was their path easy? Did they live lives devoid of hardship? Or were they defined by the challenges they overcame? By the suffering they endured and transmuted into strength? Batman needs his parents' tragedy to become Batman. The hero's journey is never a stroll through the park. It's a descent into darkness. A battle against monsters, both internal and external. You are supposed to suffer. Not needlessly, not pointlessly, but as part of the process of becoming. When bad things happen, when you face setbacks, when the weight feels crushing, the weak response is to lament, to complain, to feel sorry for yourself. The strong response, the masculine response, is to look it square in the eye and understand. This is part of the price. This is the fire that forges steel. This pain is a gift, an opportunity to build resilience, to prove your mettle, to add another crucial ingredient to the concoction of your greatness. Forget the obsession with being happy all the time. Happiness is fleeting. It's circumstantial. It's often shallow. Chasing happiness directly, through endless pleasure-seeking, through avoiding difficulty, is often a recipe for emptiness. It's the path of the child, concerned only with immediate feeling. As a man, your aim should be higher. Aim for greatness. Aim for competence. Aim for strength. Aim for resilience. Aim to build something that lasts. Would you rather be a happy loser, smiling, but insignificant, unknown, unrespected? Or would you rather be a stressed winner, someone carrying the weight of responsibility, facing crises, but achieving, building, making an impact? Greatness often comes with stress. Leadership comes with burden. Achievement comes with pressure. That is the nature of the game. Embrace the struggle. Embrace the striving, because that is where true fulfillment is found. Not in the absence of problems, but in the process of overcoming them. Life is competition. Call it war. Call it the marketplace. Call it nature. Everything worthwhile, the resources, the opportunities, the relationships, the respect. It's desired by others too, many others. If the path to these things was easy, everyone would walk it, and the rewards would be diluted to worthlessness. Remember the image. 100 people start the path, 99 fall off because it is difficult. The one who makes it gets the gold. The difficulty creates the value. The fact that most people quit, most people shrink from the pain, most people choose comfort. That is precisely why enduring the hardship, embracing the discipline, is the key to achieving anything significant. Your competition isn't just other people. It's your own weakness. It's your own desire for ease. It's your own lack of discipline. Winning that internal war, embracing the necessary pain of self-mastery, that is the prerequisite for competing effectively in the world. The universe is giving, yes, but it gives to those who work for it, who strive for it, who are willing to pay the price in sweat, effort, and the endurance of discomfort. So change your relationship with pain. Stop seeing it as a stop sign. Start seeing it as a signpost, indicating that you are on the path of growth. See it as the resistance necessary to build muscle, both physical and mental. See it as the fire purifying the gold, because the man you are destined to become, the truly formidable man, he doesn't avoid the fire, he walks through it, understanding that the transformation happens within the flames, not in the safe, cool, comfortable shade nearby. Walking through that fire requires more than just grit. It demands a specific way of thinking, a mental framework constructed deliberately, brick by brick, through conscious effort. Because the same circumstances, the same challenges, the same pain can be experienced in vastly different ways depending entirely on the lens through which you view them. Your mind, the way it's structured, the beliefs it holds, the narrative it tells itself, is the most powerful tool you possess. Consider this: you can be living the exact same life, same job, same income, same relationships, same struggles, but by fundamentally changing your mental model, your perception of reality shifts. And when your perception shifts, your experience shifts. You don't just feel more powerful, you become more powerful. This is the essence of what one script called mental aikido. Using the energy of challenges, redirecting it, rather than meeting it with brute resistance or despair. How do you build this mindset? It starts with that radical self-accountability we touched upon earlier. Taking absolute ownership, not just for your actions, but for your reactions, for your interpretation of events. If everything bad that happens is viewed as your fault, not in a self-pitying way, but in a strategic way, it forces you to look for solutions. It compels you to ask, what could I have done differently? What can I do now? This mindset shifts you from passive victim to active participant. Even in situations seemingly beyond your control. You didn't control the rain, but you controlled the rain, but you controlled whether you brought an umbrella. This framework changes how you process suffering. Instead of asking why me, you start to see challenges as tests, as opportunities for growth, as necessary friction. You understand that evolution requires pain. You start to cultivate gratitude, not despite the struggle, but sometimes because of it. Gratitude for the strength it builds, gratitude for the lessons it teaches, gratitude simply for the ability to struggle, when so many are denied even that. Remember the prison example, the war for who could control their mind the best, who could suffer the least by choosing how to perceive the suffering. You can consciously choose your perspective. When things are hard, you can look at those who have it harder. You can focus on what you do have, rather than what you lack. You can view setbacks not as failures, but as data, information on what doesn't work, feedback guiding you towards a better approach. This isn't about pretending things aren't difficult. It's about refusing to let the difficulty define you or defeat you. Furthermore, you learn to turn pain into fuel. Every setback, every insult, every doubt cast your way Every moment of struggle, instead of letting it weaken you, you consciously channel it. You add it to the fire. You use it to push harder, to become more disciplined, to prove them and yourself wrong. This is alchemy, turning the lead of negative experience into the gold of motivation and resilience. This mental construction isn't easy. It requires constant vigilance. Your mind will naturally drift towards negativity, towards blame, towards seeking comfort. You must actively steer it. You must curate your thoughts, choose your focus, reinforce the beliefs that serve your growth. This involves what you consume, the information, the media, the people you surround yourself with. Everything influences that internal narrative. Building this fortress of the mind, this capacity to remain internally strong, regardless of external chaos, is a hallmark of mature masculinity. It's the ability to maintain composure, to think clearly, to act decisively, even when under immense pressure. It's understanding that true power isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet, unshakable core that refuses to be broken, refuses to give in to despair. This doesn't mean suppressing emotion entirely. It means understanding emotion, processing it, but not being ruled by it. It means choosing your response rather than reacting instinctively based on fear or anger or self-pity. It's the difference between being the storm and being the mountain that stands firm against it. That when you master this internal landscape, when you build a mindset that sees opportunity in obstacles, fuel in friction, and lessons in loss, the external world begins to lose its power to derail you. You become less reactive, more proactive, capable of navigating the inherent difficulties of life, with a steady hand and a clear eye, ready to harness the very challenges that break other men. Harnessing those challenges, transforming that internal resilience into external results, requires one crucial element: action. All the mindset work, all the discipline, cultivated in quiet moments, all the understanding of pain's necessity, it means nothing, absolutely nothing, if it doesn't translate into doing the work. Knowledge without take is useless. Thinking doesn't change anything. Talking doesn't change anything. Planning doesn't change anything. Only doing does. And the time for doing is always, unequivocally, now. Not tomorrow, not next week when things might be easier, or clearer, or less stressful. Those are illusions, excuses whispered by the part of you that craves comfort, the part that fears the exertion, the part that hasn't yet been fully conquered by discipline. You have to stop treating time like an infinite resource. You have to kill the maybe later mentality before it kills your potential. As the scripts warned, there are no more second chances, not because the world is cruel, but because every moment you delay, every time you hesitate, every instance you choose inaction, you are actively weakening yourself. You are building the habit of procrastination, reinforcing the neural pathways of avoidance. You are teaching yourself that it's okay to wait, that your goals aren't truly urgent, but they are urgent. Your life, the one life you get, is happening right now. Every tick of the clock is a moment gone forever. What are you doing with these precious, finite moments? Are you moving forward, inch by painful inch, towards the man you aspire to be? Or are you standing still, perhaps even sliding backward, lulled by distractions, numbed by cheap entertainment, waiting for a sign that will never come? This is the sign. The urgency you should feel, the slight panic that time is running out. That's not anxiety to be medicated away. It's reality knocking, demanding you wake up and engage. But action without direction is chaos. Discipline without purpose is just self-punishment. You need a why. Why are you enduring the pain? Why are you cultivating the discipline? Why are you choosing the hard path? You must have an answer, or the first serious obstacle will break you. This why doesn't have to be some grand, earth-shattering revelation handed down from the heavens. It can be simple, practical, fundamental. Maybe your why is to build physical strength, to forge a body capable of meeting life's demands, a body you respect. Maybe it's to achieve financial independence, to escape the wage cage, to provide security for yourself and those you care about. Maybe it's to master a skill, to become excellent at something, to contribute value to the world. Maybe it's simply to become a man of integrity, someone whose word means something, someone reliable, someone who stands for something. Find your why, define your mission, even if it's just for today, for this week. What is the objective? What does winning look like in the context of your current focus? Write it down. Look at it every day. Let it fuel the necessary action. Because when the inevitable fatigue sets in, when the doubts creep back, when the comfort calls to you, reconnecting with your why is what will pull you through. It transforms suffering into sacrifice, and sacrifice made for a worthy purpose is meaningful. Then, you do the work. The relentless, often unglamorous, day in day out grind. You show up, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. You execute the plan. You follow the discipline. You chip away at the objective. One workout, one page, one task, one difficult conversation at a time. Consistency trumps intensity. Discipline beats motivation. Execution defeats dreaming. Most people are drowning in distractions. Their attention is fractured. Their energy dissipated on trivialities. They live reactively, pulled this way and that by notifications, headlines, fleeting desires. They confuse being busy with being productive. The man on a mission is different. He is focused. He eliminates the non-essential. He protects his time and energy fiercely, guarding them for the work that matters. He understands that progress requires deep work, sustained concentration, immunity to the endless noise of the modern world. This deliberate, focused action, driven by purpose and executed with discipline, is how you build momentum. It's how you start to see tangible results, how you prove to yourself that change is possible, that the gap between who you are and who you want to be is bridgeable, not through wishing, but through the consistent application of effort. Laying one perfectly, day after day. Laying those bricks perfectly, day after day, requires energy, vitality, a certain robustness. Your ambitions, your mission, your desire to build a life of substance, they all reside within a physical body, and the condition of that body, the strength and resilience of that vessel, profoundly impacts your ability to execute, to endure, to win. Neglecting the physical foundation is like trying to build a skyscraper on mud. Sooner or later, it collapses. Taking command of your physical self through disciplined training, mindful nutrition, and adequate rest is not vanity. It's not just about looking better, though that is often a welcome side effect. It is about forging capability. It is about cultivating energy. It is about building the raw material of resilience. A man's body should be a reflection of his will, a tool sharpened for its purpose, not a liability holding him back. True, the training ground, whether it's the gym, the track, the dojo, or the open road, is a powerful laboratory for the principles we've discussed. It's where discipline is tested moment by moment. It's where you confront your desire to quit, your perception of limits, your relationship with discomfort, in a very real, tangible way. Can you push through the burning in your muscles? Can you finish the last rep, the last mile, when exhaustion screams at you? Can you show up consistently, day after day, even when motivation is absent. The lessons learned under physical duress, they don't stay confined to the training environment. They seep into every other area of your life. The man who learns to push past physical pain learns how to push past emotional discomfort. The man who develops the discipline to train consistently develops the discipline to work consistently. The man who confronts and overcomes physical challenges builds the confidence to confront and overcome life's challenges. How you do anything is how you do everything. Forging strength in the body helps forge strength in the mind. We live in an era that glorifies softness, that promotes comfort above all else. Physical hardship is often seen as unnecessary, even undesirable. As a result, many drift through life physically weak, lacking energy, easily overwhelmed by exertion or stress. This physical fragility often mirrors a mental fragility. To consciously choose strength, to embrace the discomfort of physical training, is an act of rebellion against this trend. It's a statement that you refuse to be weak, that you choose capability over comfort. Pushing your physical limits teaches you profound truths. You learn that perceived limits are often mental barriers, not true physical walls. You discover reservoirs of strength you never knew you possessed. So you experience the direct correlation between effort and results, between pain and growth. This builds an unshakable self-belief, not based on empty affirmations, but on the proven reality of your own capabilities, earned through sweat and strain. See, physical discipline extends beyond just exercise. It encompasses what you put into your body, fueling yourself with processed junk, relying on stimulants to get through the day. These are acts of self-sabotage. Disciplined eating, choosing foods that nourish and energize, is not about restriction for its own sake. It's about optimizing the machine. It's about respecting the vessel that carries your ambition. Similarly, adequate rest, often neglected in the hustle culture, is not laziness. It's crucial for recovery, for mental clarity, for long-term performance. Pushing yourself relentlessly without proper recovery leads to burnout, injury, and diminishing returns. True discipline involves understanding the entire cycle: stress, recovery, adaptation. Honoring the recovery phase is as important as pushing hard during the stress phase. Building this strong physical foundation, treating your body not as an afterthought, but as a primary responsibility, provides the platform upon which everything else rests. It gives you the energy to pursue your mission, the resilience to withstand setbacks, and the undeniable confidence that comes from knowing you are physically capable, ready, and strong, prepared to face whatever demands life places upon you, because you built yourself to handle it. This command over your physical form, it echoes in your command over your impulses, your emotions, your focus. It's an investment not just for today's battles, but for the long campaign of life, ensuring you remain capable and vital for decades to come. It's the conscious rejection of passive decay, the active choice to remain formidable, a pillar of strength, starting with the very vessel you inhabit. That pillar of strength, built first in the physical realm, must be mirrored by an equally formidable internal structure. Mental toughness, emotional resilience, the ability to navigate the turbulent waters of life without being capsized by every wave. For what use is a strong body if the mind driving it is brittle, easily panicked, swayed by fleeting emotions? True masculine strength includes emotional mastery. This isn't about being emotionless, like some cold machine. It's about understanding your emotions, acknowledging their presence, but refusing to be dictated by them. It's the capacity to feel fear, yet act courageously. To feel anger, yet respond with measured reason. To feel disappointment, yet persist with unwavering resolve. It's the space between stimulus and response, and choosing that response consciously, rather than reacting on impulse. This emotional equilibrium is forged in the same fires that build physical resilience. Facing challenges, enduring discomfort, pushing through resistance. These experiences teach you to manage your internal state. You learn that panic doesn't help, that despair is counterproductive, that rational thought is your greatest asset when under pressure. You develop the habit of remaining calm, analytical, focused on solutions, even when chaos erupts around you. And chaos will erupt. Failure will happen. Setbacks are guaranteed on any path worth walking. The mark of a man is not whether he falls, but how he gets back up. Most people fear failure. They avoid it, deny it, or let it define them. They see it as an endpoint, a judgment on their worth. But failure is not the enemy. It is the teacher. It is data. It is feedback. When you fail, and you will, the resilient response is not to wallow in self-pity or blame external factors. It is to analyze objectively. What went wrong? What did I learn? How can I adjust my approach? Failure, embraced correctly, becomes a stepping stone, sharpening your strategy, deepening your understanding, strengthening your resolve. You dust yourself off, integrate the lesson, and you move forward, relentlessly. Remember the comeback story, turning past failures into fuel for future victory. This level of introspection, this commitment to growth, this dedication to the mission, often requires a degree of solitude. As the scripts highlighted, greatness is often built in the shadows, in the zen hours, away from the noise and distractions of the crowd. You need time alone, to think clearly, to focus deeply, to work without interruption, to connect with your inner self, to reinforce your purpose. Most people fear being alone. They crave constant connection, validation, distraction. The silence makes them uncomfortable, forces them to confront thoughts they'd rather avoid. But the man on a path of growth learns to value solitude. He understands it's not loneliness, it's opportunity. Opportunity for focus, for clarity, for self-assessment, for strengthening the internal fortress. He doesn't need the applause of the crowd, because his validation comes from within, from knowing he is doing the work, staying true to his principles, moving towards his objective. Escaping the gravitational pull of mediocrity often means intentionally distancing yourself from the sources of that mediocrity, the endless scrolling, the trivial conversations, the low-frequency environments that drain your energy and dull your ambition. Solitude allows you to curate your mental environment, to protect your focus, to cultivate the mindset required for high achievement. This combination, emotional control, resilience in the face of failure, and the strategic use of solitude, creates a powerful internal state. It allows you to weather storms that would shatter others. It enables sustained effort over long periods. It keeps you anchored to your purpose when distractions abound. Like physical strength, this mental and emotional fortitude isn't gifted. It's built consciously through deliberate practice, facing adversity, and choosing discipline over ease, time and time again, becoming the calm eye within life's inevitable hurricane. This calmness isn't numbness. It's cultivated presence. It's learning to observe the rising emotion, acknowledge it without judgment, even use the breath as an anchor, allowing you to process it consciously rather than letting it hijack your actions. It is the mastery of response. When failure strikes, this mindset transforms it from a dead end into a crossroads. The analysis must be ruthless, objective, stripping away ego to find the raw lesson. Document it, understand it, iterate. This deliberate practice turns potential tragedies into invaluable tuition, accelerating your progress faster than any success could. and solitude. It becomes your sanctuary for this work, a space not just to escape noise, but to actively recalibrate your internal compass sensor, ensuring your actions remain aligned with your deepest purpose, insulated from the fleeting opinions and pressures of the world. This triad, emotional mastery, productive failure, purposeful solitude, is profoundly countercultural. It's the path less traveled, the one requiring conscious effort, the one that separates the man forging his destiny from those simply reacting to circumstance, proving you are not like most people because you choose not to be. Choosing not to be like most people, choosing the path of discipline, resilience, and purpose fundamentally changes your relationship, not only with yourself, but with the world around you. As you build that internal fortress, as you become stronger, more capable, more centered, you inevitably begin to stand out. And with that differentiation comes responsibility. Strength, true strength, isn't meant to be hoarded for oneself. It carries an implicit obligation. An obligation to protect, to provide, to lead, even if only by example. The stronger you become, the more capable you are of shouldering burdens, not just your own, but potentially those of others who depend on you or look to you. Your family, your team, your community. This leadership, it often doesn't come from a title or a formal position. It radiates from your very being. It's in the way you carry yourself, the way you handle adversity, the standards you hold for yourself. People notice the man who is calm under pressure. They notice the man who does what he says he will do. They notice the man who faces challenges head on, who refuses to make excuses. Your actions become the sermon. Your consistency becomes the inspiration. However, walking this path means you will inevitably encounter friction with those still deeply entrenched in the mindset you've worked so hard to escape. Those who prioritize comfort over growth, excuses over responsibility, complaining over action. They may not understand your choices. They might resent your discipline, seeing it as a judgment on their own lack thereof. They might try to pull you back down, consciously or unconsciously, towards their level of mediocrity. You must learn to navigate these interactions with wisdom and resolve. Protect your energy fiercely. Do not allow the negativity, the cynicism, the low standards of others to infect your mindset. Set firm boundaries. Limit exposure to those who consistently drain you or undermine your progress. As the script suggested, the opinions of average, undisciplined people, they hold little weight. You are playing a different game, by different rules, judged by a different standard, your own. This doesn't necessarily mean cutting everyone off or adopting an air of superiority. There's a place for compassion, for understanding that most people are simply caught in the prevailing currents of culture. But compassion does not mean compromising your principles. It does not mean lowering your standards to make others feel comfortable. Lead by example. Offer a hand up, if appropriate, but do not allow yourself to be dragged down into the quicksand of their excuses. Embracing the role of the strong, capable man carries weight. Responsibility can feel heavy. Being the one others rely on, the one expected to have the answers, the one who remains steady when others falter. It requires constant vigilance, constant reinforcement of your own discipline and mindset. But within this weight lies profound meaning. Purpose is often found not in serving oneself, but in serving something larger, in contributing, in protecting, in building, in making a positive impact on the lives of others through your strength and competence. By holding yourself to a higher standard, you implicitly challenge those around you to rise. Your dedication becomes a benchmark. Your resilience becomes a source of vicarious strength for others. Wicked ripples, demonstrating what is possible when a man decides to reject mediocrity and commit fully to his potential. You become, in your own sphere of influence, a force for elevation. this outward expression of your internal development, this acceptance of responsibility, this navigation of social dynamics from a position of strength and principle, is a crucial part of the journey. It's where the forged steel of your character meets the real world, tested not just in solitary struggle, but in the complex, often messy, arena of human interaction, shaping not only your own destiny, but potentially influencing the trajectory of others, laying the groundwork for a legacy built on more than just personal achievement. The legacy defined not just by what you acquire, but by the values you embody, the standards you uphold, the positive influence you exert, and the character you forge, which echoes long after you are gone. Setting this standard isn't passive. It demands consistent, visible demonstration of your principles, especially when inconvenient or challenged. It requires you to be the change you advocate. Remember, this capacity to lead, to influence, to bear responsibility, it flows directly from the deep well of internal strength, the self-discipline, the mental fortitude you painstakingly cultivated in the earlier stages of this journey. The outer world merely reflects the inner victory. Therefore, wield this influence with discernment. Invest your strength wisely, focusing on where it can truly foster growth and uphold value, rather than depleting your energy, trying to uplift those determined to remain anchored in mediocrity. True leadership also involves knowing where not to fight. Knowing where not to fight, conserving your energy, requires resources, freedom, options, the ability to protect, to provide, to build that lasting legacy discussed earlier. These things are inextricably linked to your capacity to generate and manage resources effectively. Money, wealth, is not inherently good or evil. It is a tool, a powerful amplifier. It magnifies your choices, your character, your impact, for better or for worse. Therefore, the disciplined man, the man on a mission, cannot afford to be naive or negligent in the financial domain. Just as you cultivate physical strength and mental fortitude, you must apply the same principles, the same unwavering discipline, to building financial strength. This isn't about blind greed or crass materialism. It's about responsibility. Responsibility yourself, to your family, to your future, to your potential impact. Financial weakness leaves you vulnerable, dependent, constrained. It limits your choices, forces you into compromises, potentially traps you in situations that stifle your growth and violate your principles. It adds stress, drains energy, distracts you from your core purpose. To achieve true freedom, to operate from a position of strength, requires mastering the flow of resources. This mastery starts with the same foundations we've covered. Discipline, rejecting instant gratification in favor of long-term gain, living below your means, saving consistently, investing intelligently, avoiding the trap of consumer debt that enslaves so many. It requires focus, educating yourself about money, understanding how it works, how to make it work for you, rather than spending your entire life working for it. For crucially, it demands the rejection of victimhood narratives surrounding wealth. While systems exist, opportunities vary, the mindset of extreme ownership remains paramount, blaming external factors, lamenting unfairness, fostering resentment towards those who have achieved financial success. These are chains that keep you bound to scarcity. For Creeley, the empowered perspective focuses on what you can control, your skills, your work ethic, the value you provide, your financial decisions. For Creeley, sustainable wealth, the kind that builds freedom and legacy, is almost always a byproduct of creating significant value for others, solving problems, meeting needs, building systems, businesses, offering products or services that people willingly pay for because it improves their lives. This requires effort, skill acquisition, risk-taking, perseverance, through inevitable failures, all the elements we've discussed. It's not about finding shortcuts or loopholes. It's about becoming the kind of person, the kind of provider, who earns abundance through contribution. Stop trading all your time directly for money. That path rarely leads to us wealth or freedom. Seek leverage. Build assets, whether through investments, business ownership, intellectual property, that can generate income independently of your direct hourly labor. This requires strategic thinking, delayed gratification, and the courage to step outside the conventional path followed by the masses. The freedom that financial strength provides is immense. It's freedom from worry about basic needs, freedom to walk away from toxic environments, freedom to pursue work aligned with your purpose, even if it's initially less lucrative, freedom to weather unexpected storms, health crises, economic downturns, freedom to be generous, to support causes you believe in, to provide opportunities for others, freedom to design your life according to your values, not the constraints of your bank account. Treat your finances with the same seriousness, the same demo strategy, the same unwavering discipline that you apply to your physical training, your mental development, and your mission. Build financial muscle, accumulate resources not as an end goal, but as fuel for your purpose, as security for your future, as a foundation for the impact you intend to make, ensuring you have the means to match the strength of your convictions, ready to deploy those resources effectively as you continue the relentless forward march. Creating the value that fuels this march often means developing a keen eye for unmet needs, acquiring rare and complementary skills, and having the courage to tackle complex problems that others shy away from. It's about becoming exceptionally useful. Yes, stepping outside the perceived safety of traditional paths involves risk, financial exposure, the possibility of failure, but overcoming this fear through diligent preparation, calculated assessment, and unwavering self-belief is simply another facet of the warrior spirit, distinguishing calculated courage from reckless gambling. Remember, like building true strength or deep character, constructing lasting wealth is overwhelmingly a long game. It demands patience, persistence, compounding effort over decades. A stark contrast to the desperate, impatient pursuit of overnight riches that traps so many. These accumulated resources, earned through discipline and value creation, become the raw materials for constructing that enduring legacy, enabling you to provide security across generations, fund visions larger than yourself, and build structures of lasting positive impact. Transforming personal success into transmissible strength. An opportunity. Transforming personal success into transmissible strength. Building that enduring legacy is not the end of the road. There is no end. This path, the path of discipline, resilience, purpose, and continuous growth, it doesn't lead to a final destination where you can finally rest, put your feet up, and declare victory. The victory is the path. The reward is the struggle, the striving, the constant becoming. Understand this. The man you are today, forged through the fires we've discussed, is merely the foundation for the man you can become tomorrow. Complacency is the enemy. The moment you believe you have arrived is the moment you begin to slide backward. Life is dynamic. Challenges constantly evolve, and the demand for strength, for adaptation, for resilience never truly ceases. Well, the elements, the physical power, the mental fortitude, the emotional mastery, the focused purpose, the unwavering discipline, the capacity to lead and provide, the command over resources. They are not separate compartments. They are interwoven, interconnected, reinforcing each other. Weakness in one area inevitably compromises strength in others. True, lasting power lies in the holistic integration, the relentless cultivation of excellence across all domains. Embrace the process. Learn to love the grind, not just the outcome. Find satisfaction in the effort itself, in the knowledge that you are pushing your limits, honoring your potential, refusing to settle for mediocrity. The trophy collects dust, the applause fades, the external validation is fleeting, but the character you build, the resilience you forge, the discipline you internalize, these become part of you, an unshakable core that sustains you long after the specific achievements are forgotten. Remember where we started, with the stark realization that no one is coming to save you. That responsibility rests solely, entirely, with you. This remains the fundamental truth. Today, tomorrow, always. Every morning, you face a choice. The choice to yield to comfort, to distraction, to the gravitational pull of the easy path, or the choice to rise, to engage, to embrace the necessary struggle, to take one more step, however small, towards the formidable man you know you can be. This journey requires unwavering honesty with yourself, constant self-assessment, identifying weaknesses not with self-loathing, but with the cold objectivity of a strategist, seeking vulnerabilities to fortify. It demands humility, the recognition that you don't have all the answers, that there is always more to learn, always room to improve. It requires courage, the courage to keep choosing the harder right over the easier wrong, day after relentless day. The path is not crowded. It demands sacrifices. It involves pain. It often requires periods of intense focus and solitude that most people are unwilling to endure. But it is the only path that leads to genuine self-respect, to true strength, to a life of meaning, purpose, and impact. It is the path of the man who refuses to be merely a product of his circumstances and decides instead to become the architect of his destiny. Look forward. The challenges ahead are many. Obstacles will arise. Doubts will surface. The temptation to quit will whisper in moments of weakness. But you now possess the tools, the mindset, the understanding. You know the principles. You understand the necessity of pain, the power of discipline, the urgency of action, the importance of purpose, the potential stretching out before you, the man you can still build, the legacy you can still forge, is immense. The fire of becoming never truly goes out unless you allow it to. Keep feeding it, keep tending it, keep embracing the heat, the pressure, the relentless transformation. The journey continues. The work is never fully done. And the man you are capable of becoming is always one decision, one action, one disciplined effort away. See how these threads weave together. The physical tiety fuels the mental endurance needed for deep work. The emotional stability allows for rational financial decisions under pressure. The clarity of purpose directs the disciplined application of resources. The strength built in one domain reinforces all others, creating a synergistic upward spiral, a fortress built not of isolated pillars, but of interlocking, mutually supporting walls. And within this striving, learn to find not just tolerance for the difficulty, but a profound sense of aliveness within it. The moments of intense focus, pushing boundaries, wrestling with complex problems, these are where true satisfaction lies, far deeper than the shallow comforts the world offers. This is the meaning inherent in the struggle, the quiet joy of conscious effort, fully engaged. This engagement, this active participation in your own becoming, grants you the ultimate freedom, the freedom from feeling like a pawn of fate. Even when facing forces beyond your control, you retain the power of response, the dignity of choice, the agency of the architect, not the victim. You are the sculptor, and the marble is your own life. Philae. The man forged on this path becomes more than just strong or successful. He gains wisdom through experience, adaptability through challenge, compassion through understanding his own struggles, and the capacity to leave a mark that resonates with integrity and purpose. Philae. His why may refine, deepen, expand, but the commitment to the journey, the relentless pursuit of his highest potential, remains his constant guide, his truest north. Join the path, subscribe,